Hey guys, and welcome back to another deep dive Evercade completion review. And what's a deep dive completion review, you may ask? Well, it's where I need to complete an Evercade game from start to finish. Doesn't matter how many save states I use, and it doesn't matter how many load states, as long as I can complete the game before I do this review. And what little gem are we reviewing today? Well, today we have a purple cart on Data East Arcade number 2, and we have Express Raider cart number 12. Let's get into it, guys. Yeehaw, partners. Strap on your spurs, grab your controller, and get ready to ride because today we're heading full steam into a fist-swinging, bullet-dodging, train-hopping showdown with one of the most wild and overlooked arcade treasures ever to hit the Evercade, Express Raider. This game isn't about being the good guy. Oh no, you're the outlaw here, a full-blown mustache-twisting, gold-hungry bandit on a mission to rob a train and leave a trail of pixelated chaos behind you. From the moment the whistle blows, you're thrown into a non-stop adrenaline rush, sprinting across train carriages, throwing punches like your life depends on it, ducking wild swings from burly guards, and launching enemies off the train tops like sacks of potatoes. And just when you think you've caught your breath, bam, you're on a horseback, galloping alongside the train in a high-speed shootout, dodging obstacles and blasting enemies popping out of windows like a retro whack-a-mole. It's a glorious blend of arcade beat-em-ups and side-scrolling shooting with the signature Data East flavor. Cheeky, bold, and ridiculously fun. Whether you're a die-hard Evercade collector or just hungry for a slice of the arcade history, Express Raider delivers an experience that's as thrilling today as it was in the dusty arcade of the 80s. So stick around, partner, because we're going to break down every punch, every pixel, and every runaway train moment that makes this wild western ride an absolute blast. As always, we'll be looking at the story, sound, and gameplay, and a little later on in the episode, we'll be letting you know my Evercade stats on how long it took me to complete Express Raider. But before we do that, let's go back in time and talk about some facts about Express Raider. Did you know that Express Raider was developed by Data East in 1986, during a time when the company was experimenting with genre-blending games? The game was released under the title Western Express in Japan and Europe, showcasing its international appeal. Interestingly, the arcade version utilized the Data East Deco cassette system, an innovative hardware format that allowed arcade operators to swap games using cassette tapes, which was a precursor to modern game cartridges. The game's design reflects a transitional phase in Data East development style, bridging the gap between earlier titles like Karate Champ and larger hits such as Bad Dudes vs. Dragon Ninja. Notably, the Commodore 64 port was developed by a Hungarian team known as Damned House. This international collaboration highlights the game's widespread influence and the global nature of game development even in the 1980s. Despite its unique gameplay and innovative features, Express Raider remains a hidden gem in Data East's catalogue, offering a glimpse into the company's creative evolution during the golden age of arcades. That's right, back in the 1980s, arcades were jam-packed with space shooters, ninja, and martial arts maniacs. But cowboy games, they're about as rare as a clean-shaven outlaw. Before Express Raider galloped onto the scene in 1986, the pickings were slim. Sure, Takeo gave us Wild West in 1982, which was basically a top-down horse-riding shooter, and Capcom dropped Gunsmoke in 1985, a vertical run and gun where your cowboy moved like he'd had one too many drinks in the saloon. But Express Raider, it didn't just let you shoot. It let you punch, kick, and duck under some swinging planks like some kind of bootleg Chuck Norris on a train. It was the only Western game at the time where you could literally fistfight a railway guard, then jump on a horse and start blasting fools in the same play session. And it did it all with goofy cartoon charm and over-the-top sound effects that made it feel more like a Saturday morning cowboy cartoon than a gritty shootout. It even beat Sunset Raiders to the arcade scene by 4 years. And that's like turning up to the gunfight before the invite even went out. So while the arcades were crawling with aliens, dragons, and karate champions, Express Raider proudly rode in with its 10-gallon hat and said, "Let's rob a train and punch a moustache off someone's face." Legend. Express Raider was one of the first arcade games to put players in the shoes of a bad guy. Back in the 1980s, most arcade games typically cast you as the hero, fighting to save the world, defeat invaders, or rescue the princess. But Express Raider flipped the script and let you play as the outlaw, a role that was ahead of its time for arcade games. While there was a few games where you could control a character on the run, similar to Pac-Man where you're evading the ghosts, Express Raider actually has you taking active steps as the villain, with the goal of robbing trains and causing chaos. It's one of the first games where you're playing to be bad rather than saving anyone or fighting for good. The sense of freedom to be the outlaw is a big part of its charm, and it shows how being the villain could be just as exciting, if not more so, than being the hero. It's a great example of how the game world was ready to let players experience the other side of the story. Let's take a look at the story. Alright, hold tight, partner, because Express Raider is about to take you on a wild ride you won't forget. Forget the heroes and the damsels in distress. In Express Raider, you're the bad guy and you're here to rob a moving train loaded with riches. No time for saving the day or playing nice, just pure, unfiltered, Wild West chaos. And guess what? The stakes couldn't be higher. The game kicks off with the train pulling out of the station. But you're not just hopping on like a casual commuter. Oh no, you've got to fight your way past ground guards who are doing their best to keep you from getting anywhere near that speeding train. Once you dealt with them, it's a race against time as you jump onto the already moving train and make your way through a series of wildly dangerous train cars. But don't get too comfy, the train's rolling full speed ahead and there are coyotes waiting to take a bite out on you, trying to mess up your plan. As if this wasn't enough, the cowboys aren't just letting you have all the fun, no sir. These folks are serious about protecting the loot and they'll stop at nothing to blow sections of the train to pieces to slow you down. Yeah, you heard that right, they're literally blowing up the parts of the train in effort to stop you, forcing you to hurry up and make your way to the next cart before it's too late. If you're hanging around taking your sweet time or getting distracted by the loot, you might just lose your payday as the train gets torn apart piece by piece. The tension's high because every second counts. The longer you take, the more of the train vanishes and the more of your fortune goes up in smoke. Make your move fast or you might be left standing there empty-handed watching the train and all that loot disappear into the distance. As you fight your way through the train carts, it's not just about the obstacles though, the cowboys are on your trail, making the stakes even higher. These guards get faster, stronger, and sneakier as you progress, and before you know it, you're in a full-blown shootout, trying to survive and make it to the next cart in one piece. The more you rob, the tougher it gets. But that's the thrill, isn't it? The harder you fight, the bigger the payoff. And the best part? This game loops. Once you make it through one round, you're back at the beginning, but this time the cowboys have stepped up the game and the enemies are faster and the obstacles are even deadlier. The difficulty ramps up with every loop, keeping the pressure on and the action intense. If you want to walk away with your treasure, you'll need to fight smarter, move quicker, and never stop pushing forward. So what are you waiting for? There's a train full of loot with your name on it, but you've got to act fast. If you stand still for too long, say goodbye to your payday. So let's jump into this wild world of Express Raider and see how long you can survive as the most notorious outlaw in the West. Let's take a look at the sound. The sound in Express Raider isn't just an afterthought, it's a key part of what makes the game so engaging and so exciting. Right from the start, the Western-inspired music sets the tune for the entire experience. With its upbeat spaghetti Western style, you're immediately thrust into a fast-paced, wild adventure. The music carries you through every moment, from the chaotic train robbery to the heart-pounding chases across moving train cars. It's like you're in the middle of an action-packed Western movie where every note pushes you to take risks, move fast, and rob that train before it's too late. But it's not just the music that draws you in. The sound effects play a huge role in making everything feel more immersive. Every punch you throw, for example, has that distinct rubbery sound effect, almost like you're slapping a rubber ball. It's a perfect fit for the cartoonish, over-the-top vibe of the game. It's both fun and funny, making the combat feel light-hearted even as you're fighting your way through the guards and trying to avoid being blown off the train. The punches might not be heavy blows that knock you out of your seat, but they're definitely impactful in their own quirky way. It's a subtle detail that reinforces the wacky, action-packed tone of this game. And then there's that train whistle. Oh, that whistle. It's more than just a sound, it's the heartbeat of the game. Every time you jump between cars, you're greeted with a sharp, blaring whistle that cuts through the air, reminding you that time is running out. It's like the train is taunting you, challenging you to keep up, to move faster, or risk getting left behind. The whistle is your constant companion, urging you to hurry and reminding you that each second matters. It's a sound that brings a sense of urgency, and it always seems to blast right when you need that extra push to get to the next cart before the explosion sends you flying off the train. The soundscape shifts dramatically as you ride alongside the train with your loot in hand, ready to ride off into the sunset. But before you can escape, a firefight erupts, and the atmosphere is charged with tension. The sharp, rapid-fire gunshots ring out, their echoes bouncing off the rugged terrain as you try to outrun the lawmen. You're in the middle of this standoff, but this time the music isn't the usual Western twang. Instead, it shifts into something completely unique, a cool, funky cowboy vibe that's done all electronically. It's got that synth-heavy rhythmic pulse that matches the fast-paced action of the shootout. Imagine electronic beats fused with Western flair, creating an electrifying backdrop for the chaos. In short, the sound design in Express Raider is a masterful mix of Western vibe, cartoonish humor, and high-stakes action, from the upbeat music to the rubbery punch sounds, and the iconic train whistle. Every element works together to make sure you're always in the moment, never too comfortable, always on your toes, and always ready for the next daring leap. The sound doesn't just enhance the experience, it defines it, making each moment feel more intense, more thrilling, and more fun from the last. Let's take a look at the gameplay. The gameplay in Express Raider is packed with action and some cool twists that sets it apart from other games. First, let's talk about the two-level designs. That keeps things fresh. On one side, you've got this train robbery itself. The action kicks off with you fighting through a series of train cars, each one designed with its own unique set of challenges. One minute you're jumping from car to car, dodging obstacles, while the next you're throwing punches at railroad guards and workers who are doing everything they can to stop you from getting away with the goods. The train sections are fast-paced and dynamic, making every second feel like a sprint to the next car. But the level design doesn't stop there. Once you've plundered the train, the second part of the gameplay opens up, and it's this whole different vibe. You're racing across the open plains, trying to outrun lawmen and avoid coyotes, while still keeping an eye on the loot you've just stolen. This level design is all about speed and strategy. It's a firefight with a bit of a chase, making sure you stay ahead of the law, dodging their bullets, and dodging the wild animals that are swooping at you. The transition between the two levels is seamless, and the shift in pace makes each section feels like a whole new experience. From the narrow, claustrophobic train cars to the wide open expanse of the plains, both areas have their own challenges that keeps you on your toes. Now here's one of the coolest mechanics in the game. Every punch that you land on an enemy, you get some health back. Yes, you heard that right. Unlike many games where health is a limited resource, in Express Raider you're encouraged to get into the action. The more enemies you knock out, the more health you regain. The twist is super satisfying and really changes the flow of the game. You're not just trying to survive, you're actively seeking out fights to keep your health up, which keeps the combat feeling fresh and engaging. It's a unique twist that adds an extra layer of strategy to the game. It's like a mini reward system where every successful punch or takedown gives you that extra boost to keep going, encouraging you to stay on the offensive rather than waiting around for health packs or hiding behind cover. What's even more impressive is how the mechanic adds a sense of momentum to the game. As you defeat enemies, you feel your health climbing back up. It's almost like you're getting stronger with every fight. This creates an awesome feedback loop. The more enemies you beat, the more you can take on, making each punch feel more rewarding and strategically important. One of the coolest aspects of Express Raider is how the difficulty ramps up as you loop through the two levels. After each successful run, the game doesn't just throw more enemies at you, it cranks up the intensity in other ways that keep you on your toes. For starters, the train carts start to speed up, giving you less time to move between them. You can't afford to hang around too long or you'll miss your chance to jump to the next cart, risking your loot and your life. Meanwhile, the bottles thrown by enemies become faster and more frequent with each loop, and you'll need to time your punches and jumps even better than before as the throwing enemies become quicker at launching their projectiles. And you can't just cruise through the levels anymore, you've got to stay sharp and always be ready to react, making every second count. This increase in speed and pressure is what really changes the dynamic of the game. It's not about facing more enemies, it's about the time crunch. With less time between each train cut, you've got to make every move count. The feeling of urgency amps up, and it's not just about fighting, it's about being able to react faster, plan your next move, and stay ahead of the chaos. Overall, Express Raider mixes clever level design with a unique health mechanic, creating a gameplay experience that's both fast-paced and fun. It encourages you to keep pushing forward, taking risks, and staying in the thick of the action, making it feel like you're constantly on the edge of a wild adventure. Now, I spent $49.99 on this cart, but the Data East Collection 2 has 12 games on it, so we can't say that just for Express Raider. We have to say that I spent $4.17, which basically means for my $10 an hour ratio, I'll need to play this game and complete it in longer than 28 minutes. And I can successfully say that I did that, completing the game in 1 hour and 23 minutes, which is an equivalent to $3.20 per hour ratio, giving it a massive bargain in my eyes. I had a play count of 1, I didn't use any load counts, and I didn't use any save counts, but once again, I used lots of credits. Alright, and now it's time for my review of Express Raider. Giddy up, cowboy. Alright folks, time to dive into the story, and I'm giving it a 5 out of 10 because while the plot is as simple as it gets, robbing trains and getting away with loot, it's still surprisingly fun. Now, westerns usually aren't my jam. I'm more about high-tech cities or post-apocalyptic wastelands where people fight over canned beans, but Express Raider, it caught me off guard and had me grinning ear to ear. And here's the kicker, this game made me feel like the bad guy. Like if the Lone Ranger decided to ditch the whole fighting for justice thing and just started robbing people for fun. Picture this, instead of a noble hero galloping in to save the day, you're this masked outlaw, robbing trains and laughing all the way to the bank. You're out here with no moral compass, no sense of doing the right thing, just you, your fists, and a whole lot of chaos. I'm talking about being the guy who's all too happy to punch anyone in the face, jump between train cars and make off with bags of cash. Forget helping widows and orphans, you're here to grab what's yours, and if some lawmen get in your way, well, you're just gonna knock them out like it's a Tuesday morning. That's right, you're not too concerned about protecting the innocent, you're more like, how much can I steal before the law catches up with me? And let's be real, the game doesn't win any awards for complexity. There's no deep storyline about redemptions or a tragic backstory where you had to become an outlaw for some greater good. Nah, it's just a straight up heist. Rob a train, avoid the law, and keep the loot. And that's exactly what makes it so much fun. There's something satisfying about playing as the outlaw. You're not saving anyone, you're not sticking it to the man, you are the man, and you're just trying to get away with the loot. No moral high ground here, just train robbing shenanigans. The thrill isn't in being the hero, it's in being the bad guy and getting away with it. So yeah, the story gets a 5 out of 10. It's simple, straight to the point, and most importantly, it puts you in the boots of a lone outlaw who's all about stealing and surviving. Sure, there's no deep plot, but sometimes you don't need that. You don't need a reason to rob a train when the fun is in the chaos and the excitement of being the bad guy for once. Forget saving the day, this game is about making your own day, one heist at a time. It's a reminder that sometimes being the bad guy is way more fun than being the good guy. And really, who wouldn't want to feel like the Lone Ranger if he was completely unhinged? Alright, let's dive into the sound. I'm giving it a 4 out of 10. The punches in this game are like you're punching a marshmallow instead of a hardened outlaw. It's all this rubbery sound like you're fighting in a cartoon where the bad guys are made of foam. I get that they were going for something fun, but when you're playing a cowboy outlaw, you want the sounds of fists meeting flesh, not something that sounds like you're smacking a wet sponge. It just didn't have that satisfying punch, literally, I was hoping for. It's like they gave up on the whole rough and tough feel and went for slapstick comedy instead. I half expected the bad guys to go flying into the air yelling, "Whoa!" in a cartoonish fashion after every hit. Then there's that Western music, which is Well, let's just say it's an electronic cowboy music. Now, I can't say I've ever been to a cowboy bar where the jukebox starts blasting synthesized beats, and that's what we get here. It's like they tried to take the Wild West and put it through some kind of time machine and sent it straight into the 80s. Imagine a Clint Eastwood film with a synthwave soundtrack playing in the background instead of a campfire guitar. It's not wrong, but it's definitely weird. I mean, I get it. This game was made in 1986, and maybe they were ahead of their time trying to mix cowboy grit with some space age disco. But to be honest, I would have preferred some classic Western tunes, some good old guitar twang to really get me in the mood to rob a train. So yeah, the sound gets a 4 out of 10 for me. It's definitely different, but in a way that feels more like a wild experiment gone a bit wrong. The music and punch sounds just didn't quite deliver that Western authenticity I was hoping for. I mean, who doesn't love a good electronic cowboy soundtrack? Well, me. Guys, I just literally said I didn't. And as much as I enjoy a good cartoony punch, it didn't quite feel like I was the rough and tumble outlaw I was supposed to be. It's fun in its own weird way, but next time let's just stick to the classic Western sounds, or at least make the punches sound like they're actually landing. Alright, let's talk gameplay, and I'm giving it an 8 out of 10. Why? Because this game is like the mad scientist of the 80s gaming world, merging two genres that were totally different but somehow clicked together like a cowboy and his trusty sidekick. You've got that classic side-scrolling action, and then bam, it throws in beat-em-up mechanics. It's like if Super Mario suddenly decided to punch Goombas instead of jumping on them, all while riding a train in the Wild West. That's the level of wildness we're talking about here. And then there's the second part where it's an actual gun shootout and you're controlling the cursor, moving it around the screen and dodging incoming bullets. These two are completely different genres just mashed together, and it's totally wild and it totally works. But here's the thing that really blew my mind. The game has this genius mechanic where every time you punch an enemy, your health bar goes up. Yeah, you heard me right. You're literally getting healthier as you beat people up. This isn't just any odd beat 'em up. It's like a fight for survival where every jab to the face doesn't just knock someone out, it recharges your health. It's like if you could eat your favorite burger and get skinnier with every bite. Who wouldn't want that? So here's what happens. You start off fighting bad guys, and as you start landing those punches, you're getting stronger. It's like you're in this weird kung fu fitness class where every hit burns calories and builds muscle. The more you fight, the more you can keep punching. It's never ending, like a punching party that heals you. I mean, sign me up for that kind of therapy, right? Now here's where things really start to kick up a notch. Each level gets tougher and the timing gets trickier. You're not just dodging regular punches anymore. No. Now you've got bottles flying at your face from all directions, and guess what? There's barely any time to move forward and let alone dodge them. It's like trying to walk through a room full of Nerf guns being fired at you at full speed. The game's basically saying, alright cowboy, time to step up or get bottle bombed. And that feedback loop of punch, heal, repeat becomes a race against time where you're juggling the need to stay alive, dodge bullets, and beat up bad guys faster than you can blink. The more punches you land, the stronger you get, but you also need to be on your toes because one misstep and you're back to square one, running out of time and sweating bullets. After spending some time with Express Raider, overall I'd rate it a 6 out of 10. The concept of robbing a train as the bad guy is definitely a unique twist, and the game does a good job of blending beat-em-up mechanics with a time-based challenge. It's definitely a fun experience, especially with the health mechanic where you regenerate health with every enemy you punch. The more you fight, the stronger you get, which adds a unique dynamic to the gameplay and keeps things interesting. It's like being a cowboy version of Wolverine, and that part of the gameplay really stands out. However, the difficulty ramps up pretty quickly. The game throws more challenging obstacles your way with faster bottle throwing enemies and less time to move between train cars. The timing gets way tighter as you go, and while the game remains engaging, it can be frustrating when you don't have enough time to react. That added pressure definitely keeps you on edge, but it can sometimes feel like the game is just a bit too unforgiving. All in all, Express Raider is a fun, unique experience with some quirks that make it memorable, but it does fall short in a few areas. The gameplay is fun and keeps you engaged, but the difficulty spikes and the sound design left me wanting a little bit more. It's definitely worth checking out if you're into retro games or just want a taste of something a little bit different. It didn't fully win me over, and it's a fun ride, but not without its flaws. Thank you so much for watching another deep dive Evercade completion review. As always, please remember to give me a like, subscribe, or comment down below because I love interacting with your comments. If you are a fan of our videos, we will have some new interesting things coming out this week, so stay tuned. Until then, stay odd, stay awesome, and we'll see you next time on the Odd Socks. See you guys.